the president backing Hillary Clinton today, but did he just give Donald Trump a boost by doing this?
Do you think the Republicans are happy with their choice?
We are, but I don't know how they're feeling.
That's what you're going to hear tonight. The president laughing Donald Trump off. Why someone here says he might want to be careful about doing that. That could backfire. Welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in for Neil Cavuto this afternoon, and this is Your World. And if Colonel Allen West is right, the president just did Donald Trump a favor. Also here, Ohio Democratic State Senator Capri Cafaro and the Wall Street Journal's Shelby Holliday. All right, so I want to start with you, Colonel. What do you make of this? Do you think that the president is actually happy about Donald Trump being the GOP nominee?
No, the president is not happy whatsoever. It's good to be with you, Sandra, because the president is concerned that Donald Trump is a complete repudiation of the failures of all of his policies. You think about the fact that we are 7.5 years into the Obama administration. Just last quarter, we had a 0.8% GDP growth. The average annualized GDP growth under President Obama and his economy is less than 2%. The jobs report that came out last week, 38,000 jobs produced in 7.5 years. That's absolutely abysmal. And then you also have to think about the workforce participation rate that is the lowest in about 36 years at 62.6%. And we know that the Iranian nuclear deal was built upon a false narrative because Ben Rhodes said so. Obamacare is collapsing under its weight. United Healthcare 3 weeks ago has pulled out of it. Insurance premiums are going up.
So, Capri,
Sure.
The Colonel just made the case for why Donald Trump, this may backfire on President Obama to be laughing off Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, I think he certainly at least tried to attempt to make the case of why someone should not vote again for a Democrat. But I think where President Obama is coming from in his remarks, quote unquote, laughing off Donald Trump, is I think he's trying to say, and I saw some of the remarks, that this is not being in the White House is not about being on a reality TV show. So I think that his criticism, his laughing it off, is trying to couch Donald Trump in such a way that he is not going to be a credible person to fill the shoes in the White House, that because of his inflammatory remarks on women and minorities and others, that will create a continued division.
Well, Shelby, that is the party line, right?
Right, that's the party line.
Democrats are touting that Donald Trump's unfit to be president.
Exactly. And, you know, the president is a funny guy. He's very charismatic. He can crack jokes and make people laugh when he wants to. The problem with him making comments like this is it gets Donald Trump back on message. If you notice, Donald Trump today wasn't talking about the Mexican judge. He wasn't talking about building a wall. He's talking about Obama's policies and linking Hillary Clinton to Obama's 8 years, what many Republicans considered failed policies of the past 8 years. I also think it's worth noting that while Obama's approval ratings are hovering around 50% right now, an overwhelming majority of Republicans disapprove of the job he's doing, and 2/3 of independents disapprove of the job he's doing. So when Donald Trump goes after Obama's record and links Clinton to that, it actually helps draw Republicans.
I'm going to bring something up real quick, if I may, because I think what we're not recognizing here is that there are actually Republicans out there, in addition to Democrats, that aren't particularly crazy about Donald Trump. For example, today in my home state, two of my colleagues, one current female state senator and a former male state representative who are Republicans, are not showing up at the convention.
Okay, but Senator, to your point, that's not breaking news. I mean, we know the unfavorables for both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are both high. But that being said, Colonel, we got an official.
But continuing to divide is not going to unify.
Because we got the official endorsement today from President Obama for Hillary Clinton. And Colonel, I wonder, does this change anything? It was expected, obviously. Everybody wondered when it would happen, but it has happened. Hillary Clinton responded with a tweet saying she's honored to have you with me, referring to President Obama. She's fired up and ready to go. Colonel.
Well, you know, having served 22 years in the United States military and several trips into combat zones, you have a sitting president, and now you have a presumptive nominee for the Democrat Party, both of whom abandoned Americans to die in a combat zone in an engagement and then lied about it. I think they're going to have to answer to that. The failed Russian reset button, you're going to have to answer to that. You're going to have to answer to the failed policy in Libya, which destabilized that country. And now it's a sanctuary for ISIS, as well as the vacuum that was left in the Middle East, along with the expansion of China and their building of those man-made islands and putting military fortifications on it. And when you talk about reality TV, I have to laugh because it was President Obama that was on with, I think, Bear Grylls or whatever his name, eating raw meat in Alaska. While
Look,
not
I'm not condoning that
Russia,
either, but he didn't have a franchise on NBC for a decade.
All right, Senator, but I want
Well,
to.
Russia and China were conducting naval operations while he was on a reality TV show in Alaska.
Okay,
And I'm not condoning that either.
As far as the endorsement is concerned, I do want to get this in here because Donald Trump has also tweeted in response to President Obama's official endorsement saying, quote, Obama just endorsed crooked Hillary. He wants 4 more years of Obama, but nobody else does. Senator, to you first and then to Shelby.
I think that obviously President Obama at some point was going to have to come out and endorse his former Secretary of State. This endorsement to me is really only important, not necessarily to the general electorate, but to trying to unify the Democratic Party. We obviously saw today Bernie Sanders has no intention of bowing out, at least maybe not until after the D.C. primary at the absolute earliest, from what he intimated in his remarks after his presence at the White House. So, I mean, I think that Barack's endorsement, President Obama's endorsement today of Hillary Clinton, is more about trying to send the signal that the Democratic Party needs to unify before it's too late.
All right, Shelby, to you.
I also think it's important that President Obama is doing this now, even though Sanders hasn't backed out of the race, because he knows he has a lot of pieces of the Democratic Party to pick up, to put back together. And I want to go back to that comment he made about laughing off Donald Trump. The president does know that, while the Democratic Party disagrees on a lot of things right now, and they can't really play nice at this point, maybe going after Trump is the one thing that will unify the party. And I'm sure we will see a lot more of this. But as one pundit said, maybe it would serve Obama better to go play golf and maybe not comment on the race. So
Not
we'll
a betting gal, but I'll say, Shelby, that you are probably right. A lot more to come. Things continue to get interesting. Thanks to all 3 of you for joining us this afternoon.